Hello everyone and welcome to the Vortex, where lies and falsehoods are trapped and exposed. I'm Michael Voris. Nothing is going to be solved in the church anytime soon until leaders and people admit the reality of the current state of affairs and then develop a plan to fix the problems and then implement that plan. This flow must take place. Admit the reality of the crisis, formulate a plan, put the plan into action. Unfortunately, most of those best equipped to initiate and continue this flow or strategy don't seem capable of even getting to first base. There is a willful negligence on the part of many, and this means bishops, other clergy, and professional Catholic lay staffers. A caveat before we continue here: this is certainly not all bishops and priests. A number of bishops do recognize the current disastrous state of affairs. They see the church shrinking at a rate greater than even during the Protestant revolt of the 16th century. These solid and faithful bishops are actively taking steps to correct the problems. But in many cases, they too are hamstrung by the conditions on the ground, so to speak, where the battle, or better stated, the spiritual war for the soul of the church is being waged. The corruption is so deep and has existed for so long now that even when a faithful, solid bishop does try to shift the balance of power, he's met with quiet opposition from his own staff and even his own priests manning the parishes. Nonetheless, they fight on, and they deserve our unconditional support and praise. And rest assured, speaking on behalf of RealCatholicTV.com and St. Michael's Media, you have it totally. But as for the rest, the willfully negligent crowd, their obstinate refusal to embrace the reality in its entirety, decide on a course of action, and implement the plan has actually caused an almost never-before-seen phenomenon to begin to occur. In their diocese, the institutional church is on life support. It is in the death throes, preparing to hear the long, steady beep of the flatline. But what is emerging in its place is what could be described as the domestic church, the movement on the part of individuals and families who are faithful Catholics and have decided to abandon the institutional church of their local diocese and gather together to protect their souls and the souls of their spouses, children, and as many family members and friends as possible. I travel around the country and the world with some degree of frequency, and everywhere I go, I see this, and it is a wonder to behold. Our blessed Lord is not abandoning His church. He is allowing the dead cells to simply fade away and is reinvigorating those who have remained faithful in the midst of the crisis. You see this beginning to occur everywhere. Faithful Catholics are walking away from the institutional Catholic grade schools and high schools by the droves and committing themselves to homeschooling. They have given up readership of institutional Catholic periodicals like the diocesan newspapers and are bolstering the readership of faithful Catholic publications, mostly online. They refuse to attend or refer their friends to progressive and modernist-influenced RCIA programs and are forming groups in their homes to self-learn the faith. They would sooner die than allow their children to lose their souls by attending CCD instructions at the local liberal parish. And most importantly, they have largely given up on the highly Protestantized Mass offered at most parishes and have started flocking to more reverent and faith-building Masses at locations where the traditional Latin Mass or reverent and pious Novus Ordo Masses are offered. What is developing is now extremely obvious. The emerging church, to co-opt a phrase from the heterodox unfaithful crowd, the emerging church, the church which is now emerging, is small but absolutely faithful to the magisterium and loyal to the death to the Holy Father. This domestic church is having its numbers added to, while the institutional church is diminishing, going bankrupt, struggling, and losing the battle to remain relevant. Its seminaries are closing, the domestic churches are increasing. Its parishes are being sold off, the domestic church can't fit all the people inside. Its universities have abandoned the faith, the domestic church is forming new ones. Its media and communications apparatus is dying from being ignored. The domestic church is exploding on the internet. In short, the old channels for communicating and transmitting the faith are clogged with corruption. Diocesan education offices spew out watered-down catechesis, and that's on a good day. Their schools wouldn't know a dogma from an opinion. Their parishes are shrinking faster than a balloon with the air being let out. All their Madison Avenue-inspired marketing schemes for promoting priestly and religious vocations have proven to be the folly they always were. Pretend for a moment we weren't talking about the faith, but we were talking about which of two corporations in which you would want to invest your life savings. Which would you bet on? Tomorrow, the response of the institutional crowd to the dire straits they now find themselves in, and what the response of faithful Catholics should be to their severely injured brothers and sisters in the faith. God love you. I'm Michael Voris.
Please help us keep delivering these kinds of messages that so desperately need to be heard and acted on. Join RealCatholicTV.com today as a premium subscriber. Become immersed in the faith established by Jesus Christ. The Catholic Church is the only hope against evil because that is its God-given mission. As our Lord said, apart from me, you can do nothing. Join RealCatholicTV.com today as a premium subscriber and come to learn and love Christ more deeply.